Hey legends, results are in for round 20 and we're going to kick it off with the People Squad, and another slight improvement we had here with a 968 was our scoring in this one. Just want to show you there we have 37k in the bank, 6 trades remaining, and yeah, potentially a few guys to move on from. Thankfully we're going to have Jack DeBellin and also Payne Haas returning, most likely anyway with Haas there, and yeah, some unfortunate news here with having bring in Harrison Graham, bring in Asako a couple of weeks ago, and having Lemuelu in the squad. We do have 3 of those guys out, and Val as well. So 4 Dolphins, which means that likely I think 1 or 2 of them probably need to go. And I'd imagine that Asako is probably on that chopping block for sure at the moment. But the 37k in the bank doesn't really leave us much room, so it may have to be a downgrade upgrade kind of situation. Thankfully, we're sitting there with Graham, who's doing well if he keeps his spot, and also Sandon Smith seems to have that spot locked down for a little while Sam Walker is out. But yeah, looking into this next week, we will be needing a center. So at a minimum, that's going to be a guy to grab in. And how we do that, does it become another keeper, and then we have 3 kind of keeper level centers? Probably a big question mark that we have there. In terms of scoring this week, the Lem 59 was great. Obviously, Preston as well with his 64. We had some low ones with obviously Tohu and Fisher Harris with 41 and 31. 49 for Fafita. Wasn't amazing, and having Moses there, like myself, with a 42 as well. So a little bit low for our liking on that one. Garrick with the 45 was really solid, and having Harry Grant there as well. So Bateman the 66. Pretty solid overall, but again, probably likely a double trade this week, getting us down to 4. If we're looking at the Community Cup, so it's actually just us and the Fantasy Lounger in the top 2 and really doing well at the moment, and they're actually in rank 240th. We're 1,098, and the next best is about 2.5k, so we're definitely the 2 best teams at the moment, and we'll be fighting it out for Discord glory, that's for sure, in that one there. But yeah, that's really all we need to talk about, I'd say, in the People Squad. So we'll get into mine just briefly, and we'll get into those rankings as we go along there. But my squad there, we move into the top 100 again, thankfully, there in this one with a 92 rank. And a really, really solid score on that front with 1,008. So there's a few things, obviously, as I said, that last game wasn't too kind to us, apart from Brendan Hands, like obviously outperformed. And really, if you take off sort of 17 points and we get a 40 from Hands and give that to Moses, who gets a 59, we're probably not too unhappy with that, I should say. But yeah, overall, like if Hands is outperforming like he was at the start of this game, you really would have hoped that Moses and Fafita also came to the party, who I ended up trading Dave in there. I didn't have Teddy playing, so that was obviously a little bit of a misstep, not having him. But who would I have ended up leaving out? Like with Bull, I would have kept him. Obviously, it would have just been Chance maybe, and Teddy could have scored less than that. So overall, probably not the worst on that front. Maybe Hands, I don't end up playing him for that 57. So really, I think the Teddy out didn't really matter in the end. It didn't really change my trade plans either. So that's that, having to play Chance for the 39, it wasn't too bad at all. Obviously, an update there, a couple of points was good. Same with King, up to 46, and definitely worth every bit of cash that we paid for him at 520, and up 13, and it will continue to go up a little bit more each and every week. If he hits that 45 on a regular basis, we should see him up around that 600k mark very, very quickly. Tohu Harris, as I said, is probably a hold this week. And then when you're looking at Papali'i and Bateman, and Buller, obviously, they're coming up against the Dragons this week. And that's going to be a fairly... You'd imagine that the Tigers will probably win that one, especially with Appy there back and ready and firing. And then potentially Luke Brooks coming back this week. But he could be another week away. We will find out, obviously, in team list on that one. So those kind of guys there. I did mention like Papali'i, you could try and use him to get up to like a clear or something. But... gee, it might be another week of seeing how he goes against the Dragons, and potentially he's on the left side. If Brooks is back too, I think they could cut up that right hand edge a little bit there with Jaden Sewer being out and you're playing against Ben Masila, and if Brooksy and Papali'i can't cut him up to shreds, then who can basically, or who will, because that's a very formidable left side, that's for sure. So overall, like Heinze there, obviously we did really well. Until he got sin binned, unfortunately, in a team that's really, really struggling. So thankfully, I'm not sitting there with the Talakais and Ronaldos and these types of guys, and just the one Dolphin at the moment with Valence Tafade. And if I was to downgrade him this week to like a Ty Munro or something like that, I'm very likely to have 21 playing players this week, which is very, very exciting. It's very interesting how it's all going to play out. If I'm looking at my trades potentially this week, Val going down to a Ty Munro and Nickel Klukstar going up to a Cam Murray is a very, very realistic target for me, and that would be a massive upgrade on Chance for only the 110k, I believe. At 650 you could get Murray, obviously with one bye remaining, but so does Chance next week, and that would be a week if I was to bring in two bunnies, obviously in Munro. If I decided that, I think he can, obviously make some money and be a solid scorer. Not that we have a lot of trades left, obviously with the 6 remaining trades there. Like with Munro, you're probably getting him in. You're not trading him out from here on in, but it could be a solid scorer every second or third week. And when we do have a couple of guys on bye next week with the Warriors, then I could definitely loop someone like Munro, someone like Buller, these types of players that I'll be holding in my squad. And that would mean, if I trade Chance this week, I don't lose another wing fullback, because Munro would be coming in there. And then Cam Murray would be another strong mid to really bolster this squad. That's one option. I could also go one of these 700k or so guys. The Tohu Harrises, the Papali'i, like I said, if I downgrade Chance to a cheapie like Munro or something like that, I could upgrade one of those 700k guys to Cleary. And obviously Cleary would be really important, but have Cleary, Hines, Johnson, and Moses would be pretty ridiculous there. When you get Horsburgh and you get Jack de Belin coming back into your squad, it's pretty exciting to go along with Fafita, Bateman. Centered with Penasini is probably my main sort of issue there. You get de Belin, Horsburgh straight in, King becomes like a 17th man or something like that, which is really, really cool. So squad's looking pretty solid. Let's just get straight into those rankings now. And up top there, we've obviously got our couple of boys up top. We'll just make that a little bit easier for you guys to see. All right, so we've got Boozy, Nige, Booze Clues, 1,024. So he beat me, unfortunately, and then got Brenton by 44 points. So Beaver's Headgear, I know, has a lot of trades remaining, sitting at 1,006 and only 41 points there behind Brenton. So yeah, you'd hope there that these guys can have a big bounce back type of game. Personally sitting there with myself with 14.8 million in squad value. Nigel just hit the 15 mil. There's a bunch of guys that are well ahead of that at 15.4, 15.27. A lot of guys doing really well on that front. So yeah, a big shout out to everyone in this top 10. We see JBFA Dorable Rossa in there with Matt in ninth position with 1,058. So congrats to the JBFA community there. We will get to the podcasters, but Chris from the Rogues there having an incredible season in at 12th. Like, there's nothing you can say about that. It's absolutely incredible. So well done to everyone in that sort of top 10 or so. You're doing an incredible job there on that one. Let's just go straight into our community. I just wanted to shout out to the private group guys, and just wanted to mention the guys that there is a big prize for first at $1,000. So Matt currently is in the lead on that one. He's very much closely followed by Will, who ended up beating me pretty comfortably this week at 1,041, and then Scoop's sitting in there and behind at 1,021. So a shout out to all these guys in the top 10. Our 10th best guy in the private group is sitting at 388, and Ryan was sitting there a lot higher than that at this point. So we've got 10 out of the 100 in the top 400 there, which is pretty impressive. And then Sammy Boy is in 162. So we've got 5 of us in there doing really, really well, which is cool. But yeah, shout out to Matty. Unfortunately, not his best week, but he's currently sitting on top there and in line for the big cash prize at the end. The first couple at least get away with, absolutely smashing their costs for entry, with not a lot of people available for prizes, which is very, very exciting for those guys. And then our fantasy analysis community, obviously it's Nige and Brenton up top with Matt coming in at third position. So that's not really changing. It's basically the same as the overall ladder. If we're looking at my head-to-heads, I'm coming second, third, first, and second, getting wins in all of them, with none of my opponents getting the 1,000. A lot of them very close at 998, 995, and 983 there. AFG Kosi there, I believe, is in the top 30 or 40 there. So that was a big win in that one. The head-to-head to lock myself in at third in that one. Coming 6th overall in Cowboys fans, 5th in the JP Round fan club, beautiful, and 40th in the Talking League Pod Cup, which I am 29th in mine. So there are a couple extra people in that one, which is cool. But I really just wanted to spend a little bit of time here going through the Podcasters League and just shouting out the guys that are in that top 3 there. Some absolutely incredible scoring and positions on the ladder. 12th overall for Chris. Like, I'm coming 92nd overall, and I'm 4th in a group of 20 people or something. Stuart's sitting in 25th position with 1,002 this week. I end up beating all these guys by not many points at all in that one there. So he's at 25th, and then Eddie's sitting at 39th. So those 3 guys there, the Boom or Bust pod, the In the Bin pod there, just absolutely dominating at the moment. So yeah, I'm sitting in a pretty solid position and still Still a good way behind him, just under 100 points behind Eddie. And look, anything could happen in this last bunch of rounds. It's about a little bit of luck, obviously. Claw back 24 points this week. I'm going to have to do that regularly or have a big catch up. We can see, which you can see here, a lot of the points in these top 10, 961 was the lowest there. And 1,021 was taken by 2 people with Scoop and also Nick being able to score that one there. So it shows it's pretty hard to go get a big difference on a few of your opponents there. We've got a couple of thousands down here, and they've really caught up to a couple of the guys in front of them. But overall, like, you've got Scoop there's just behind me now at 128. You've got Mark there at 169. Rob's playing obviously head to head on that front. Nick's doing pretty well at 187 as well. So there's lots of guys doing great, and TK end up into 354. So he's clawed his way back really well. That's where we're at with all the results, guys. Just kind of get you a general idea of where players are at. If you're sitting pretty low down the totem pole compared to a few of those top guys, you've got someone at 3,185 there in Ryan as well. They're still able to score really well and has decent team value and stuff like that. They're a fair few points behind like the top guys, right? But maybe your goal is to get into the top 5,000 or something like that. And if you're looking at like Corby down here, he's just in the top 5k, he's sitting at 16,956 points. So have a look at where you're at compared to some of these guys as well. And shoot yourself to maybe beat one of these podcasters that you listen to. Would be really cool. Like, depending on where you're at and how close they are to you, could be a really good goal to try and set for the last 7 rounds. And a lot's going to happen in this week. Obviously, everyone's trying to get to their final best 17, and not a lot of people owning plenty of Dolphins guys. So hopefully I'll be pretty stacked this week and be able to have a good round, a good team going forward from here. Just be careful of how many trades you end up using. Like, if I do use 2 this week, I'll end up with 4 with six rounds remaining. And if a bunch of injuries come, then really I think from here on there's no more upgrades to come. It's just going to be waiting there and sitting there hoping that we don't get injuries each and every week, or any long-term ones anyway. Make sure you try and cover your all positions week to week there, and you'll end up in a good position. Good luck with this one, guys.